Hi everyone, we are back and we are still on the in-house panel, and I am with Mrs. Pratibha Jain, who is the Group General Counsel of Everstone Group. Thank you so much for being here. She's also one of the panelists, and I'm very interested in this panel, as I was saying, and I think whoever's listening now knows that I'm very interested in this panel. There are a couple of things I wanted to ask you, starting with what do you see as the role of in-house in any dispute setting? Because people think that the role of in-house starts when the dispute comes and you get a call that there's a problem. But I think it starts much earlier. So what do you have to say for that?
Well, ideally, it goes hand in hand with how the role of in-house has been changing in India. It has been more developed outside India. You're part of the management, right? For example, I'm part of the management committee. So that's when the process starts, when you're making decisions with respect to the partners you're going with for any transaction, choosing the right partners, when you're doing the agreements, thinking through what happens if there is a dispute. So it's prevention, the first step, which happens when you're doing the agreement. So remember, as in-house, you're part of the whole life cycle.
Absolutely.
So being part of the whole life cycle means if you did your agreements right, it should be able to help you in dispute. So there are various things we do. For example, if somebody's saying no for arbitration, legal basically will say you can't do the deal. Because we start worrying at that step itself that why are you not doing arbitration? You want us to get caught into the court systems, for example. So it starts much before.
I just want to build on what you said when you said that the role of in-house is developing. How do you really see the role of in-house changing, having been in-house for such a long time?
I started my in-house journey in Hong Kong because I was with Goldman Sachs, and so I was in Hong Kong for some time and then moved to India when they set up their India office. And so I've seen the journey offshore, and I've seen like the early heydays of general counsels, like senior people being there as general counsels, and from contract management to being part of managing management committees and being at the senior most levels in the organization. I think that recognition is coming that you don't call the lawyers when there's a dispute. You need the lawyers to make sure that there are no disputes, that things go seamlessly, especially regulatory issue, and how you can also do regulatory arbitrage with having the right legal counsel working for you. So I think the gamut of what in-house counsels do is changed considerably from before. It used to be that the legal team reported to CFO. In most good firms, that's changing now.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great because we are stakeholders.
There's such a dichotomy there.
Yes. And we are stakeholders who should be sitting on the same table. Because your colleagues.
More than that, I'm supposed to be regulating the CFO, right? Amongst others. So if I'm reporting to the CFO, it's a major systemic risk in the way the organization works. So I'm glad that that awareness is now coming.
And what do you see as the differences in an international arbitration setup from a GC angle and a local arbitration setup? Do you see your role as being different in both?
I don't think my role changes, but definitely I think, with MCIA, things are getting more streamlined in India. But even today, it's mostly because we're a Singapore fund. We prefer SEAC as the go-to for all our contracts. It's also a little more streamlined and cheaper because it's so streamlined. The processes are well laid. Everybody comes, does it in one go, and you're done. Here, I think it's come a long way from when I started my practice more than 25 years ago. But I think we are getting there, still not fully there.